The tension at the Quartermaine mansion is about to explode, and Harrison Chase has no idea he's walking straight into it. What starts as a casual greeting, what feels like a harmless conversation, turns into a question that cuts deeper than Chase expected. And when Ned Quartermaine asks where his loyalties truly lie, Chase's silence says more than words ever could. Because in Port Charles, your past never really stays in the past. It's a quiet afternoon at the Quartermaine estate. The grounds are calm, the air feels still. Harrison Chase steps into the foyer just as Ned Quartermaine returns from a walk. At first it's easy, light, almost warm. Ned cracks a joke. Chase laughs. For a moment it feels like family. But then Chase asks a simple question. Where are Olivia and Lee? Ned smiles casually and explains they're finishing another lap around the grounds. And just like that, they're alone. And the mood shifts. Subtle, but unmistakable. Ned straightens his posture. His expression hardens just slightly. Chase compliments him, says it's good that Ned is keeping up with his health, like he promised. And that's when Ned takes control of the conversation. If we're talking about priorities, he says evenly. Why does it feel like yours are more focused on your ex-wife than on my daughter? The air changes instantly. Chase freezes. His smile fades. And in that 1 second, you can see it. The guilt. The shame. Because Ned isn't wrong to ask. And Chase knows it. No man wants to be called out by his father-in-law. Especially not about another woman. Especially not when that woman is Willow. The woman he once loved. The woman he still cares about. Chase looks stunned. He didn't expect this. He didn't prepare for it. And for a moment, he doesn't answer, which only makes it worse. Because silence can sound like confession. Ned studies him carefully. He's not yelling. He's not dramatic. But he is protective. Brook Lynn is his daughter. And Ned Quartermaine does not ignore threats to his family. So he pushes. Explain it to me. And that's where Chase has a choice. Defend himself. Or finally admit what's been obvious. Chase takes a breath. He admits it. He will always care about Willow. Always. That history doesn't disappear. Those feelings don't just evaporate. But he insists that caring is not the same as choosing. He tells Ned that Brook Lynn has his whole heart. That she's his wife. His future. His everything. But Ned doesn't look convinced. Because actions speak louder than promises. And lately, Chase's actions have not been lining up. He's been pulled into Willow's world. Into Michael's chaos. Into drama that doesn't belong in his marriage. And Ned sees it. Everyone sees it. The question is, does Brook Lynn? Chase admits he's made mistakes. He spent too much time worrying about Willow. Too much energy defending Michael. Too much focus on problems that aren't his anymore. And that realization hits him harder than Ned's words ever could. Because Chase loves Brook Lynn. But loving someone and protecting your marriage are two different battles. And right now, he might be losing one of them. Ned's voice softens slightly, but his warning is clear. Being a husband is one thing, being a father is another. The weight of that sentence lingers. Because this isn't just about Willow anymore. This is about the baby. The future. The family they're trying to build. And suddenly, the stakes double. Chase reveals something important. He and Brook Lynn have spoken with Alexis Davis. They're ready to move forward with the adoption. They're serious. They're committed. They're building something real. And for the first time in the conversation, Ned pauses. That matters. But it also raises a bigger question. If Chase is truly ready to become a father, why does he still look torn? Why does he still look like a man divided between past and present? Ned doesn't miss that flicker of uncertainty. And neither should we. Chase promises to fix this. To refocus. To prioritize Brook Lynn. To be the man she deserves. He says he'll make it right. Immediately. But here's the problem in Port Charles. Promises are easy. Temptation is not. And Willow isn't going anywhere. Neither is Michael. Neither is the drama that keeps pulling Chase back in. So the real question is whether Chase means what he says. The question is, will he be tested again? And if he is, will he pass? Because Ned Quartermaine just drew a line. And if Chase crosses it, the Quartermaine mansion won't be the only place shaken. It could tear apart a marriage that barely had time to settle. And we're only getting started. Brook Lynn Quartermaine has trusted her instincts her whole life. And tonight, her instincts are screaming. Because something is off. Not loud, not obvious, but subtle. The kind of subtle that only a wife would notice. After Ned's tense confrontation with Chase, the mansion feels different. Too quiet. Too heavy. Chase walks into the living room, shoulders tight, jaw set. He thinks he handled it well. He thinks he reassured Ned. But the look on his face tells another story. And Brook Lynn sees it instantly. She asks him what's wrong. He says nothing. And that's the first mistake. Because when a man says nothing in Port Charles, it usually means everything. Brook Lynn studies him carefully. She knows her husband. She knows the tone of his voice when he's relaxed. She knows the way he smiles when he's truly happy. And this is forced. She presses gently. Did my dad say something? Chase hesitates. Just for half a second. But it's enough. And Brook Lynn's heart sinks. Meanwhile, in another part of the mansion, Ned isn't done thinking about that conversation. He stands by the window, looking out over the grounds. Protective. Worried. Determined. He loves his daughter fiercely. And he doesn't want her blindsided. But here's the twist. What if Brook Lynn is already starting to see the cracks? Back in the living room, Chase finally admits it. Ned confronted him. About Willow. The name hangs in the air like a storm cloud. Brook Lynn doesn't explode. She doesn't yell. And that's almost worse. Because quiet hurt cuts deeper. She asks calmly, and what did you say? Chase tells her the truth. He said he'll always care about Willow. But Brook Lynn is his priority. She's his future. Their baby is his focus. But as he says the words, he realizes something terrifying. He said similar words before. And yet, the tension keeps returning. Why? Brook Lynn turns away for a moment. Processing. Because here's what really hurts. It's not that Chase cares about Willow. It's that Willow keeps becoming the reason Chase is distracted. The reason he's absent. The reason he's pulled into drama. And now her father sees it too. Which means it's not just in her head. And that realization changes everything. Mini cliffhanger. What if Brook Lynn starts to wonder? If she's competing with a ghost from Chase's past? Chase moves closer to her. He promises again. He says he'll set boundaries. He'll step back from Willow and Michael. He'll focus on their adoption journey. He mentions Alexis. The paperwork. The next steps. He paints a picture of their future. But Brook Lynn isn't just thinking about paperwork. She's thinking about trust. Because adoption isn't just about becoming parents. It's about stability, consistency, security. And if Chase's heart is divided, even slightly, is that enough? At that exact moment, Chase's phone buzzes. He glances down, and everything slows. Because the name on the screen, Willow, Brook Lynn sees it. He sees her say it. And suddenly, the promises from 5 minutes ago feel fragile. This is the test. The immediate ones. Does he answer? Does he ignore it? Does he step outside? The tension is unbearable. Chase declines the call. Places the phone face down. I'm here, he says softly. But here's the problem. Willow called for a reason. And in Port Charles, calls like that are rarely simple. Is something wrong? Is Michael in trouble? Is Willow spiraling? And how long before Chase feels compelled to respond? Because caring doesn't just switch off. And neither does history. Upstairs, Ned watches from a distance. He doesn't hear the words. But he sees the body language. The strain. The space between them. And he knows this conversation isn't over. It's just beginning. Later that night, Brook Lynn sits alone in the nursery room they've been planning. She touches the empty crib. Imagines the future. A baby. Laughter. Family dinners. But then another thought creeps in. What if unresolved feelings sabotage everything? What if Chase keeps getting pulled back into Willow's orbit? And what if one day he doesn't decline the calls? Meanwhile, Chase steps outside for air. He pulls out his phone, stares at Willow's missed call. His thumb hovers. He looks torn. And that's the truth. He loves his wife. He wants this family. But he also feels responsible for Willow. Protective. Connected. And that emotional knot isn't easy to untangle. Mini cliffhanger. What happens the next time Willow needs him urgently? What if it's not just a phone call, but a crisis? Will Chase choose his marriage? Or will instinct pull him toward his past? Inside the mansion, Brook Lynn makes a quiet decision. She won't beg for priority. She won't compete. If Chase wants this family, he has to prove it. Not with words, with actions. Consistent ones. And that pressure could either strengthen their bond or shatter it. Because General Hospital spoilers warn us, more challenges are ahead for Chase and Brook Lynn. Bigger ones, more emotional ones, and possibly more public ones. So here's the real question. Is Chase truly ready to leave his past behind? Or is Willow the kind of connection that never really fades? And if you were Brook Lynn's, would you trust him? Or would you start protecting your heart now? Let me know in the comments. Do you believe Chase can put Brook Lynn and their future child first? Or is this marriage already standing on shaky ground? And if you don't want to miss what happens next in Port Charles, make sure you subscribe for daily General Hospital updates. Because in this town, love is tested, families are challenged, and one phone call can change everything.